Okay, fucking what's it? I ain't so much just prepared for this as I'm just like throwing spaghetti at the wall to do this one, because I'm trying to catch up on things I've fallen behind on after defeats and all that. But they oh shit, now you press the end broadcast button then. Howdy mate, how's it going, Chief? I'm flying fucking easy, I guess. Fucking, what's it? I had to restock on the old cigarettes because it smoked them all. Yo, respect, brother. People flying out quick time on this one. Usually chat's dead for like a few minutes and then things will fly in. Or, for those that might not be, what would be the word? Commonly immersed in the RedScareTv law. BlackShirtsTv is RedScareTV. See, I'm very creative. See, I didn't even think about it because I could have said RedShirtsTV, which is the an American fascist group from a while ago, but I think they were from the 30s, but I might be wrong. But sorry, Painkillers playing in the background. The Death cover, it's fucking sick. Go listen to the Death cover of fucking Painkiller when this is over. But I mean, like, I want to sort of I'm a bit late to it. It was supposed to be a good day, Milo. How's it going? Understood, bro. That's what was. But the what's it? It's not so much a flat foot anymore as it is more of a late brush through the door. But fucking what's it? It's like turning up pissed at 3 a.m. in the morning. But you're meant to be there at fucking 11. You're meant to be back home. Is to drive the stake in regarding the sort of no longer can't English. The lack. No, that's not how I want to go about it. The discontinuing of the relationship between MRN and RedScareTv. I mean, like, a lot of processes come into sort of enveloping how this operates, but I guess like the easiest thing to go into is how much this geezer was fucking emotionally manipulating people and messing with MRN and fucking what's it? Getting in the head of Luke and messing him about. Ice Stone, do you know why RedScareTv decided to stop making videos? Yeah, because he tried to manipulate Net this time. Like, get this. So he's messaging Net these raw booky texts on fucking what's it? On Shabos. It's not supposed to. Man, them knows Net ain't supposed to be contacted on Shabos. You know, he takes his traditions quite seriously, and so on Shabbos, he likes to be chill about things and disconnect from the internet as he should and spend time with his family. Fucking Mason's sending him booky texts on Shabbos, and it eventually comes into this weird emotional manipulation move he tries on him. And then Mandem all of a sudden just fucking like a few days later freaks out and goes like goes on about how he's not gonna be doing content anymore and he's different and other thing. What's happening? He's backing away. When Luke and Jason covered the and unfortunately I wanted to cover it, but it got as soon as Luke and fucking Jason covered it, and not all the way in depth like I fucking would have. He took it down. And disappeared. He's trying to rekindle his image. A lot of fascists do this. When they get caught being the fascists that they are, they like to disappear and reimburse their image, fix themselves up a bit, put some lipstick on the pig. Fucking hell, that analogy works better than I thought it would. Yeah, they disappear to put some lipstick on the pig. And so, like, he had this thing called, like, Ohio American patriotism or some crap like that. Like, fucking, I had it in my favorites, but he's blocked it. But like, Giza, yeah, just bro, just, and fucking, Giza comes in fucking I mean, to summarize it best, Comrade Number 3, when he read it, he came to the same conclusion I did when I came to reading it. And I mean, Comrade Number 3 read it a while before I did, but when I read it, first conclusion I had was, this is some National Socialist shit right here. Like, what the fuck? It's like Number 3 said, Number 3, this is some Nazi shit. Hey, howdy, social tension. How's things going? And like, so like, he constantly like plays the game of I mean, people use the soft word of manipulators, but that's not the full extent to it. Manipulators are abusers, and so like they act in a very similar mannerism to how abusers gaslight people, and it's this constant revolving around trying to be like mysteriously over complex while weighing in on people's issues and exploiting people's own traumas. Like fucking Mason used to constantly guilt trip fucking Net and use that against them to the point where when he attacked Net, I think it was earlier this year or late last year, I can't remember, he came back after being gone for fucking ages just to go and bitch about Net, a geezer who's fucking on the fucking streets and struggle, engaging with anarchists and fucking native demarcal socialists, and the and Maoists. Shouldn't forget the Maoist element. And Panther Code will be denouncing RedScareTv. I respect MLMR. Good thing on that. Good thing on that. Fucking what's it? Cleaning houses might be. But fucking Giza would weigh in on people's struggles, take advantage of people, and that's why he would, when it came to getting, or at least thinking he's getting what he wants, he'd go through Net over anyone. As much as Jasosn also has his own issues that can be used and manipulated against him, it's not as much as what the way Net is, because Net's in such a struggled state with what he's gone through, and especially since the massacre, he's been very paranoid and very depressed and blaming himself for everything. Now you can see 3 cornerstones of which an abuser can take a hold of instantly there if they want to manipulate and mess with someone, and he paralleled at all 3. And this is without me even getting into like some of the stupid shit he was planning recently. Maybe MLMA is correct about many things, but they are not correct on Deadman. However, Panther Code will not be denouncing Deadman animations. I wouldn't be denouncing them either. MLMA are usually correct, but when they are not correct, it's usually Panther Code that will will fill in for the slack. It's not very often I see them make a terrible position, but at the end of the day as well, me and you can both. I'm speaking for you a bit there, but I'm sure that you can see in the same way I can see why MLMA might be a bit cautious about Deadman, irrespective of how much respect me and you have for the geezer, because he is a fucking G. MLA joined forces with our youth. Blessings. So things are starting to iron out smoothly, I see. We will denounce Dengism. That's good stuff. I mean, Dengism caught everyone a bit off guard because of I guess it's how scarred everyone is by the fucking either you have to have some liking to some AES crowd or you don't get a right to speak. Especially for Maoists. Like if you're a Maoist and you are taking the Principled Marxist position and going against the AES countries, you basically just get isolated from every fucking discourse group, especially in the online space in the first world. They don't want anything to do with you. And Dengists are some of the worst for it, but Dengists are also some of the worst for being manipulators to that aim as well. They know they can mess with people's insecurities in regards to how they can operate as a Marxist, and they can mess with the fact that a hell of a lot of us see, it's not entirely naive, but it's like everyone wants to see the best in everyone so much to a point where it becomes naivety. Like it only goes so far. In fact, we have changed our allies to the Demarchists, not the Dengists. I see that as a smart move. Fucking, what's it? I mean, at least one thing with the Demarchists over the Dengists is the Demarchists can accept when they've made mistakes. I mean, a lot of their core philosophy is fuck. We've buggered up a lot, eh? We need to sort our shit out. I mean, they're four pinnacle heads of Demarchism, if we're to phrase it Marxistly, is sort of corroborated based on both success and failure. It's an interesting mannerism. Not to take off topic, bro, but what's the long file on Black Shirt? I'm not familiar with the situation. So what's it? The guy is basically fucking been riding on the easy road. He's been sort of one of the main angles as to how Jasosn got in contact with Caleb in the first place. He's been one of the main angles of how MRN has started to, well, it's gone back now, but how it started to loosen up to Dengists at one point. And then you also have, what's it? The mark is in a nutshell. We look to failed heroes so that we don't repeat their mistakes. I get it, but it's hard. It is odd, but it works. But also on the black shirts thing, sorry. Sorry, I lost my flow. Sounds like a poo joke, but it's just me speak flow. But the what's it? Oh yeah, so what's it? The fact that as you might have heard in the Caleb debate, Jasosn brought up that we found out through black shirts that Caleb had been slandering Jasosn for ages. You know, black shirts kept that to himself for ages. When it's supposed to be one of my Jason's best mates, and he kept it to himself until he eventually brokered it to Net. Not gave it to Net. Brokered it. Brokering means that he had to have been given information in return. And he was constantly doing that. Like, rather than engaging in telling people important information they need to know as a member of an org, it was always this brokered relationship of information. Dodgy. And, fucking, what's it? The geezer's whole New America idea is fascist. Pure opportunism, right on. There's so few communists in the first world that even anti-revisionist communists let a lot slide just because they want to believe there's more communists here than there really are. I would agree, yeah. You would not know PSFM loves Chavez with how much the Azam writings tear him apart for being compromised by his class. Absolutely, well said. Yeah, New America was a turnoff. I remember having the argument with Net when I first heard about it. I'm like, at the end of the day, why ain't all the other people involved with New America turning around and stating, okay, we can't do a New America, we need to do something new. Like apparently all these other people involved with it have problems with the name, but they all go behind it. Fucking, and so one of the big problems that they had as well, MRN being fucking way too gullible, and it's in the time before I was involved, was just like trusting Mason as a mate, not as a principled communist with the good enough principles to do this, no, just as a mate, to be the guy to help straighten Trav out on the Lumpen and other shit like that. Now get this, I have a phone call with the geezer, and we're speaking, and when I mention about how Trav's faltering on the Lumpen and we could do with fucking help trying to explain things more thoroughly to him and get things across, geezer turns around to me and he goes, the Lumpen, you might be right about the Lumpen, but the Lumpen proletariat in Ohio are different. Like, you might be, that's how he worded it. You might be right about the Lumpen where you are, but the Lumpen of Ohio are different. Now, the big difference between the lumpen in the UK and the lumpen in Ohio. Do you want me to tell you the big difference between the lumpen in the UK and the lumpen in Ohio? The lumpen in Ohio is predominantly black. That's the fucking difference. What other difference is there? Every lumpen proletariat, lumpen aristocracy, lumpen petty bourgeoisie has the same intersecting relationship of the homeless, disabled, dispossessed, being manipulated by drug dealers and the whatnot. Then also you have the people who are fucking, in posses, gangs, and organizations, and what they might do for the community or against the community. There's a complex relationship in every lumpen proletariat, but the only thing that differs between the fucking lumpen of, any European country to most lumpen proletariat in America would be color of skin, because America is the more, extreme racial divide in the class divide due to the conglomeration of the slave trade. I've been to Ohio 8 times. Ohio is right by me. The sacrifice zone is full of lumpen anarchists and Lumpen-Maoists. Fucking great. I mean, I'm engaged with Lumpen Celt, and Lumpen Celt's a fucking he's a Maoist from Ohio. I can English, I promise. He's an absolute G. What old cities in Ohio? Like, say no more. Like, Moto City is predominantly black labor. The last solo in fucking Orion is amazing. I love it. Or even given ad to Lumpen Anarchists and align with Lumpen-Maoists, that is Ohio. I mean, I was speaking with Lumpen Cart about this, and it's like, you can't just be an ML third worldist, because you need the Maoist principles to drive the third worldist, stage of Marxism. It's built upon Maoism. But do you know people who could get there without being a Maoist? That's ANCOMs, like lumpen anarcho-communists. Or you have like the anarcho-syndical family, where they are just fucking ANCOMs that call themselves syndicalists. Don't tell them I told you that. But the it'll beat the shit out of me. But the ANCOMs can very much hit they could reach third world as an ideological stage on top of what they perform, because the anarcho-communism, when principally applied, meets very similar criteria of principles to Maoism. I mean, I wouldn't find it very hard to convince an anarcho-communist on how, the traditional stage of how we sort of go through socialism as a separate stage to full-on anarchy, communism. I reckon they would eventually come to the terms of that as things fall forward, because an anarcho-communist would be using dialectical materialism as their core principle of analysis and operation, and a principled dialectical materialist will follow the truth. BlackShirtsTv has ousted himself. Well, I mean, what's it? When I came at him in response, talking about how, at the end of the day, it's the lumpen proletariat and the proletariat that hold the principled consciousness. Sorry, the consciousness that drives socialism and its principles, and that the what's it? That the petty bourgeoisie and labor aristocracy couldn't lead us anywhere into darkness, essentially. And the geezer had I think he was looking for an excuse just to leave, but he turned around and went, I'm not an aristocrat. And then when I tried to be like, I don't really care whether you are That's fine. You're a hardworking geezer. I ain't getting at you as an individual. Not. He hung the phone up on me and blocked me. Oh man. The thing is he came in with this like aura about him where he was just gonna speak to me the way he speaks to people like Luke and all that, and I'm just gonna fucking back down and I'm just gonna follow along. It fucking just failed to understand that I ain't fucking about that shit. I ain't gonna let Mandem snake his way about. What? Fucking Yankee dickhead. Ancoms very importantly recognize the eternal nature of class struggle, a major part of Maoism and foundation of third worldism. Spoken like a true motherfucker, social engine, tall and it straight. Ancoms also reject the worship of productive forces, very critical to Maoism. Absolutely. Critical is very important to Maoism. I got what you were getting at, but it's always good to clarify for anyone who might not. Absolutely fire speaking. Telling it as it is. And then he was like talking about making this like little fucking settler ranch that he, because so like for any like time that he's tried to fucking mentally manipulate that he's fucking on hard times, Mandem is seeking out buying his own yard or already owns it and is looking to buy other private property to do this ranch thing called the Lone Star Ranch. Yeah, and Americans are invited, so he invites the native into the chat where it's going to be the American Ranch. I'm sure the native to Turtle Island really likes being called an American. Fucking top whitemanship. Fucking... It's the lack of self-awareness, or just if there is self-awareness going on, the utter egregious nature of the behavior is laughable to me. But the Lone Star Ranch makes me laugh. Like the guy's from Ohio and he says, "Oh my god, I am Old Ranger." Acts like he's from fucking Nevada or some shit. Holy shit, if you're naming anything Lone Star, you're straight up fascist. I don't get why in that regard. Is there something regarding Lone Star in America? Is it from some fucking pop culture shit? Am I a bit... cowboy culture is... so long as you know it is not historic. To be honest, I don't think it's fine. I think it's a fetishization of slavers. Think about this. The cowboy is based off the cattleman. That's the historical thing it's based off. And the cattleman spent more time moving slaves than he did cows. And the more slavers than they are anything. And that's why it's so common to see people dressing up. When they dress up like cowboys, they look like goddamn slavers. I mean, like, fucking Mason is feeling chuffed that he had a real cowboy hat while Keaton Mansfield had one of them goddamn dresser boy cowboy hats. Like, fucking hell. The fuck? Nothing about America is distinctly America. It's all just European shit slapped over the top of native land. And I see there was another quote where it was like, we follow truth, wherever it comes, oh wait, whatever it is and wherever it comes from, I think was what the quote was. I can't remember, but then I found this quote and it's, you're not to be so blind with patriotism that you can't face reality. Wrong is wrong, no matter who does it or who says it. Lone Star is a Texas thing that harkens to Texas as an independent Lone Star state. Texas was or Texas was originally independent from the U.S. so they could continue slavery. Okay, No, that is. Oh, that made things worse than it seemed. I just thought it was some cowboy fetishism shit. I didn't think it would be a fetishization of a literal slave state. That's. Fucking thanks for filling me in on that social henshin. That's actually painted a lot more to the picture of the situation going on here. Jesus Christ. Many of the young people in Panther Code listen to steam-powered giraffes. Check out their song, Malfunction. I'll have to get that at top. Red Scare is jealous of Net because Net is an actual cowboy culture state. Yeah, fucking. Oh, he's in Arizona. He's in the frontier. Oh, I'll be in the goddamn frontier. I mean, do we even need to get into the fact that the guy's fucking got FBI relatives, or what's it? Burning a sand flies, it flies. Evil little bastards. Oh, Ingsoc is on. I need to re-record it because the quality of the recording is terrible. But it's like the fourth time I've had to try and re-record this fucking cassette. I'm good at this. The other reason why Spotify keeps wow and fluttering, even though it's digital into digital, so I'll lose part of my sound while it's fucking recording. I don't know what the fuck is going on. It's not the bolts of the cassette, although they probably need replacing. Because it happens when it's playing, like, through straight digital input. Don't hack Spotify, it gets angry. That's probably why. But, you know, Mandem's just vanishing to reimburse his image. He'll be back. I mean, this isn't the first time he's done this. Anyone who's been on YouTube long enough will know that Red Scare has his periodic little tantrums where he disappears, cleans up his image, and comes back. People in Midwest, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois often are secretly ashamed of being in the Midwest and so glorify either coastal liberal culture or deep South culture. Yeah, that nails things pretty well. I'm getting a nice little sort of social input on this. Um, uh, Cowboy culture is about drifters trying to do the right thing. Samurai culture in the West is anti-America due to the internment camps. No, it doesn't really work like that. Like, you can't just divide it from the fact that the lone drifter thing is something that's stapled over the top of it. They're based off the cattleman, and the cattleman moved slaves. Literally, what cowboy means? It means man who moves cows across across the Great Plains into the South. I wonder what else those cattlemen are moving into the South. RedScareTv seems to think it is all real somehow. Night culture is more nebulous, but it's all fiction and archetypes. So knights were a real fucking thing. It's not fiction. These are real things that come from aristocracy. It's a fetishism of Machiavelli's prince level stuff, really. Like, at the end of the day, cattlemen move slaves. As being someone from the Midwest, I'm not necessarily ashamed of it, but at the same time, I would say that it is not superior or inferior to any other U.S. region. I have seen legends. I have also seen history, and we gotta go by history on these things. We know the history of these things. Like, we only have the legend, we have the history. To forget history is to risk repeating it. And angry flies in my yard. Oh, I forgot to drink the rest of my cup of tea earlier. The history is being dubbed because of people like Red Scare. Well, they want to obscure history. That's what I mean. Like it's trying. These people are making archetypes so that they can push Machiavellianism. I mean, that's the thing I forgot to mention as well. Red Scare turned around to net one time. All white people do as white people do. I ain't fucking free of that bullshit over myself. I have made them mistakes, but white people will always fuck everything up, including myself. You gotta go to the colonized if you really want the straight and an edge on everything. But I will say this, like, RedScareTv turns around to fucking net and goes, we need to be more Machiavellian. Bro, like, oh. No, go eat a bar of soap. How dare you suggest anyone should be Machiavellian? Like, go eat a bar of soap, Mason. Like, and come back and then try and tell us to be Machiavellian. The Ohio nationalism thing is laughable because it literally mirrors all of the white colonizers in Northwest Indiana who try to say that Indiana is better than Ohio or Illinois. Yeah, it's this competitive jargonism between states where it's like, you know, America needs to fucking be destroyed, and a new society that's driven by the natives and the new Africans will be fucking what comes after that. There will likely be, well, there will be a complete freedom of movement within these places, I imagine, given the way that um, what's it? If you look at native culture and how it's operated in the region, for the most part, people have been able to go as they please. So they would like to probably reimburse that, but you're probably going to have separate nations. You're probably going to have borders between these separate nations, even if they are free to pass across. Like, it is, given the diverse nature of the region. I mean, it's the size of fucking Europe. It's a whole continent. Just the USA is the size of a fucking continent. Like, well, it's the size of half of Europe. The size of all of west of Europe. Okay, there we go. I did it. I got it right. Someone blow the party gloomy thing. I got it right. Talking about white people, also immigrant population. Uh, Immigrant populations, the Africans and the indigenous have a much stronger sense of quote unquote local culture. No, absolutely, I agree. I agree. Panther Code endorses black like Mao's influence over black lumpen voices in Ohio. Absolutely. He doesn't just influence black lumpen voices, he influences lumpen pros in general. Like, you know, um, better read than dead, or as long-standing comrades would know him as, Black Red Guard is an absolute legend. Like, the geezer's, but for any problems I may have ever had with him when it comes to it, everything makes sense when you operate on how this geezer's had to be treated all these years. Like, you know, because I mean, when it comes to any of my criticisms with the geezer, none of them is on his lines or his principles. It's more on just sort of like mannerisms of engagement, but then coming to learn things forward onwards. I'm like, do you know what though? All of it makes sense. Like, I understand why he's operated like that. The way he's been treated, disrespected, and then, I mean, when it comes to it, you can work this way. Like, when I look at it from the factor of when he came at Jason, I only knew that he came at Jason. But then when I come to learn it later on, and it's like, oh well, he warned everyone about Caleb, and then no one fucking listened, and then he went at him. It's like, well, do you know what? Even that makes more sense now. Like, there's a lot of sense behind why the geezer's operated the way he's operated as, and I find that Emmeren's relationship with Caleb, the relationship with Mason, has massively soured any possibility of any relationship with Black Red Guard, and that breaks my heart. Yeah, Social Edge's got it right. Let it burn. I could genuinely just think that that white family went and set their own swing on fire just so that they could go on fucking uh, go on the television and point out that evil black neighbors, like fucking American racism trademark. Fucking hell, man. But no, Black Red Guy does not deserve any of the disrespect that he's received, and you know, people need to show as much solidarity as they can to the geezer. It's fucking. He's got the Gonzaloists causing him shit. They're a bunch of slimy little rats. We now know that RedScareTv was directly involved with doxing Black Red Guard. Panther, as he is called now. Panther, nice. I'm liking that. Ooh, ain't gonna forget that one either because it's, yeah. Panthers, Panther, he's got it rolling off the tongue. It's always good to have a nice, easy brand to say. Mine's a bit of a fucking mouthful, but you won't forget it. But no, that fucking that really labels things forward. No way, we got fucking got proof of the geezer doxing Black Red Guard. That needs to be fucking told to geezer. Panther is hip. He knows as we all do where this is going. Absolutely, absolutely. There is gonna be a revival of the Panthers. There needs to be a revival of the Panthers. You guys know that better than I do. Yeah, shut. Sorry, I'm listening to Rage Against. And like, that's the thing. The Machiavellian thing was the really fucked up thing with me when like the geezer turned around straight and said the net like need to be more Machiavellian. I'm like, no, that should have been the off point. But you know, like these people have driven things too much on fucking what's it? Heck, it's, but the should have turned off from him at that point. And the guy's a cowardly fascist rather than just a fascist. He just fucking pussy fucks off, deletes his thing, put your article back up. Don't be changing it either. Put your article back up. I want to read it. You know, if you fucking big cowboy man, don't star ranger. You know, don't hide your positions. Don't be a coward. That's bookie. And you know what? Like, I can even show you like what fucking comes up on the page, and I open it. book. Um, search bookmarks. BlackShirtsTv. Oh, what's it? That's what comes up. It fucking private site. Ardino, oh, Arden, Ohio. See, look, you can still see the title, American Marxist Patriotism. Oh, yeah. That's fucking. That's, the bravery of Mason Steiner, as it be. No, but he seems to want to take part in causing the harassment of Black Red Guard. He is a dodgy geezer. We're sweeping out the trash. Oh, this stream. Well, actually, this happened a while ago, but now it's the public confirmation. This stream is the marker point of the complete end of the relationship between us and fucking Mason Steiner. We ain't gonna be held back by no reactionaries. I mean, his family are feds, like FBI, so fucking they end up fucking going after me, you know what? He's actually a scary, more dangerous version of Marpen. He is a left and right opportunist. He spent years giving himself good press on leftist spaces online. Smarter than Marpen too. Wouldn't surprise me. Marpen can be a right dingus at times. So much for well-educated morons. The petty bourgeoisie. He's a good example of it. Marpen shoots himself in the foot a lot. I don't. Sometimes I wonder whether Marpen enjoys shooting himself in the foot. Isn't he one of those types who went back and forth between MRN and the CPI, complaining about both groups to each other? Yeah, he did actually. He used to go in, but back and forth between them, bitching at either one. Basically, whenever we could opportunistically get a one-upmanship with either group, basically cutting off from the other one. Well, at least from our end, that supposedly seemed the way it would have been. But he might not have ever been cutting off from the CPI when he was popping back and forth. It was probably just trying to keep the keep the cake warm in regards to being able to manipulate and draw out information, dropping in and out, so things don't get too obvious. So, you keep a semblance of distance. You manage to keep a pattern going on without having it being too critically analyzed because it's so drastically apart from each other. People are not getting used to it enough to notice the drive of the pattern that's causing the the drive of the pattern that they are using to operate and manipulate. You say Trav did the same thing. No, Trav was, well, I mean, kind of. I mean, Travis is a little different though. Trav instead was like going between MRN and like, I mean, Caleb didn't really want anything to do with him, but he was going for like be liberal and what's it? He tried getting on with Haz, but the only reason he didn't was because his fans didn't like it, and he also got cucked when he went to go and call Haz comrade in an engagement, and Haz just fucking blasted him as not his comrade. Like, uh, I mean, he blocked me on everything when I fucking Trav did when I dropped some comments regarding the issue. Um, that's it. I still got him. It's like, bruh, you were the guy simping for to join Haz's infrared network as you were almost begging Caleb to unblock you and and come on your channel to increase your clout. You make soft appeals to third worldism to ride off of Jason's work, whilst you make no commitments to any principles of Maoism third worldism. Instead, you do the opposite and push for appeasement reforms from the imperialist governments paid for with the blood money harvested from the third world, either through our mass resource extraction and overproductive tendencies. You are what Eugene Debs calls a sewer socialist. It's also quite Hegelian of you to just make an equation of opposites in the situation. Marxian dialectics relies on the unity of opposites, not the equation of them, for all conflicts are driven by contradictions, and we must analyze the external and internal contradictions of the situation, yet instead you obscure the whole situation through complete reduction of the situation of an equation of both sides. Caleb is a fascist, Jason is an MLM third worldist. They are as far apart as each other as can be. You cannot equate their positions, principles, their actions. They are stark opposites of each other. We must remember that this is the guy whom dug up demonstrable lies that Trav knew were lies about Jason that he spread as if they were true, all because Jason gave him a principled criticism. You claim to be his mate. You know he's got a lot of stress on his plate, and yet you went out of your way to dig up the worst lies about Jason and spread them as fact. Pure narcissism there, fam. You know you've no knowledge of respect nor solidarity. You just put bye and I put lol, that's all you've got to show for yourself. You block me on everything like fucking kind of funny. And then what's it? And then I just come up with another account. I was like, the fact you're blocking me as cowardly as Moppin does makes this so fucking funny to me. Like, what the fuck are you afraid of? Disingenuous opportunist. I still remember when I criticized y'all for over focusing on the debate bros, Destiny, Vosh, all that lot, and your response was, quote, I've got a channel to build, end quote. You're in it for your selfish gain, and you do not care about taking the stand for what's right. Instead, you tail every opportunity to raise yourself up on the ladder. You're as pro, you are as pro. Wait, what? I think I've typed something wrong there. Okay, that doesn't make sense. You oh wait, sorry, there we go. I put an as instead of an a. You're a prole that gets offended for the aristocracy when they are criticized. You simp for every bigger channel that gives you even an ounce of attention. You use smears and lies to abuse people you blag to be the comrades of. Opportunism leads to fascism, and you are a vapid opportunist. Your path leads straight to fascism, not socialism. Hence why you make a point program for reforms that will buy off the first world with third world blood money. Power behind your ability to block me. I'm sure that makes you feel really strong, fam. When actually it's the weakest shit ever. The OG comment, maybe someone will see it before this pussy clock bans me again, lol. And so I just pasted the same comment from before and I got banned. But and then there's another one that I put before, and it was Mandem is deleting comments. What a coward! Don't talk shit if you can't handle the fucking heat. It was the funny time. I was very trapped. I figured as much since Jasosn has gotten more positive attention from Lumpen-Maoist African and people, indigenous groups, and from Lumpen-Anarchists, MLM, MLM. I love Trav, but it was all an act. All that matters to him. When Trav tried cozying up to Haz, I made a conscious decision to never quote unquote trust him again. Yeah, I don't blame you. That was the right decision. Absolute right decision to be made. I was wary of Trev for a while, even though he had okay videos. But once he tried cozying up to Moppin and Haz, and then posted those memes, that was all a major set of red flags. Trav has created a new tendency, Christianite Dengist third worldism. It's more like three worldism. The least coherent ideology ever constructed. I mean, if you have really bad eyesight and you take your glasses off and you squint so it's even blurrier, it might look like third worldism. Might. Just ignore the whole not doing anything about imperialism and just trying to get benefits for the first world. Oh yeah, I think third worldism has got a pretty good point about stuff. Now, what do I think we should do? Well, do you know what? These reforms that third worldism distinctly says comes from imperialism. We'll just do those. I didn't go start doing a program for helping the people with the struggles regarding food, homelessness, shit like that. Panther programs, and then build up towards anti-war struggle and protests is a great process forward. I mean, you should be already involved in that in the long run anyway. But you know what I mean, like building things up so that you actually have a full-fledged big ass fucking org thing going and pushing for anti-war. Because when you trip up the giant as much as you can, make it harder for it to flex its military, it's even easier for revolutions in certain countries to win. Harder for the imperialists to stomp out revolution in other countries when their own country is rampaging against their possibility to attain to war. They need stability in the home country. It's the whole point of exploiting contradictions. So this is a bit the core process of it all. Not Here's my 11-point program on how to. Trav and fucking Mason are two sides of the same coin of dickheads. All the communist micro parties in the US should unite under the fight for the expansion of the labor aristocracy. Trav's proposal is literally. I missed that part and I was a bit confused. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, Trav's proposal was literally all the communist micro parties the US should unite under the fight for the expansion of labor aristocracy. I mean, I can't remember the quote exactly, but Flashy read me a very interesting quote the other day, and it was like, I think it probably was from fucking it was from another Lenin work he was telling me when I mentioned, and it was yeah, it was what's it that like, you know, communists need to look to the lowest element and make that the direct interests of the proletarian struggle, like basically saying in words like, you know, like the lumpen proletariat's needs is the direct most important drive of what the proletarian struggle should be attaining towards, not attaining towards the continuation or a development of a labor aristocracy that would be going against the proletarians' needs and appealing to petty bourgeois and labor aristocrat interests. I've butchered it, but if they end up ever watching this video at some point afterwards, you might see the quote appear in the fucking comments at some point somewhere. You never know. It's one of them. Uh, one of them things. You'll know what I'm on about. Um, it's a fight quote, nonetheless. Um, but you know, we need to not be getting nailed down by these fucking uh, showroom dickheads. Anyone pushing any idea of a new America should be considered for the sus fucker that they are. Like, there is no continuation of America post, you know, post capitalism, post the USA. You know, America is a settler colonial identity and a settler colonial state. It ain't gonna continue existing. Trying to argue for its continuation would be like trying to argue for the continuation of Israel. So, you know, yes, we need actual mass line work, not individualistic bourgeois, quote unquote, socialist policy prescriptions. Absolutely, absolutely. The mass line will drive the struggle forward. You know, it's the whole point of like the Panther program, like that. So if anyone's actually ever looked into what the Panther Party program is, the basis of how it operates is not just straight into getting into these, you know, food programs and stuff like that. One of the first operations is you need to get a foothold amongst the people. So the two ways that the Socialist Party gets foothold amongst the people, you got to appeal to the two largest centers of like, I guess like trustful, educational parameters of how we operate, and that is observation and engagement. And so, you know, their process was, you know, a party org doesn't need to be massive to think of what it's going to do forward. Because if you want to get people interested in getting involved, don't go around telling people you want to start this thing and you want to start getting people involved. Once you've got you need to get a base group together. You can't just go around fucking expecting to do this on your own. It ain't gonna work so easy like that. Conglomeration is a part of the attraction in this regards, but you get a group together ready to start an org, and you go around, you know, like fixing stop signs, filling in holes in roads, giving out free food, giving out free equipment for people for you know, sleeping bags, tents, water, bits of food and stuff like that for people who are sleeping on the streets. Um, you know, observation and engagement. You do a process of, you know, giving to the community, but showing like, you know, that this is ordinary people able to do ordinary things, why not come along and help? Sort of measures, mentality of things. Always be very willing to engage and speak with the um with the people as you're operating and engaging, and you build a greater process of people. No one's gonna really believe that someone's gonna be doing stuff if they're just gonna tell people they're gonna do it. Oh yeah, we want a society where everyone is helping for each other out, and we want to do struggle for the proletariat and their interests and all that. And all you do is stand on a Market Street corner once a week, handing flyers out, and that's it. You're not gonna show people shit. That's the whole point the Panthers were driving, is that it's better not just to tell people, you want to show people. And show them in a manner of which they can engage. Balance the process of observation and engagement. The two best driving forces of learning. And this sort of really starts to slide into, the way intellectuality functions and how organic intellectuals operate. You know, organic intellectual is much more responsive to observation and engagement in a physical mannerism than petty bourgeois intellectual. Petty bourgeois intellectuals are, not all the time, but most of the time, very inexperienced people. So, uh, you can almost say, like, outside the laboratory of capitalist realism is a bit fucking far fetched for them. It's a whole new scary world for them to have to operate with. But what's it? You know, that's where we need to be flying off the heels of, not pushing for reformism that has nothing but prolong imperialism, silence the first world. We'd all love to live in a perfect world where we can just have whatever the fuck we want, but we live in the center of empire. And we already live in it fucking lavishly compared to the rest of the world, even the poorest of us up here. It's, as Lenin says, you gotta tell people what is not politically advantageous, but what is the truth. The truth of the matter is people in empire, we ain't the ones who deserve the lavish reforms or the luxurious, this, that, and the other, when it's coming off the backs of the third world through the death squads and rampages wars that we erect across the world to dominate and control and um, you know to dominate and control the world markets that we can operate. It's not revolutionary in the slightest. It's not progressive in the slightest. It's continuation of empire that would likely have to come off the back of neo-feudal developments of the societal infrastructure. People ain't going to get those benefits without a bit of fascism, because liberalism ain't going to give it them. They think liberalism is going to give them that. They're laughing. Liberalism has had not much ground to stand on for decades. They tried to come back in the 70s, and they got the they have the liberal mentality on regards to the economy, or well, used to. They've been trying to get rid of that, but they've had a very liberal mentality on how they let the wheels off the economy. But socio-politically, we've been fascist for decades. It's fucking about time people woke up to that. It's just a lot of factionalism going on, because You got some people that are just absolutely inept at implementing fascism, Democrats. And then you have people that are also inept at engaging in fascism, Republicans. And so you have just these two dickheads who can't do it properly because they would rather have the liberal wheels off the the chains off the economy, let it go wild mentality. Um, you have this now petty bourgeois uprise of people that wanna take over the government and implement fascism their own way because it's not been done properly. And this is where the Dengists have come from as well. The Dengists are of this caliber. They want to implement fascism within the United States, socioeconomically, in their own design. Because while America is fascist as we speak, it is failing socioeconomically to achieve what people are. What people in the petty bourgeoisie are expecting out of American fascism. You know, I mean, Black Red Guard or Panther, Mendem's fucking speaking about the other day, like, on his Black Lives Matter thing, um, the website, and George Jackson's quote was sort of the big centerpiece of the discussion. Like fascism that you're looking for is that fascism was already there. It's not wrong. Fascism has sort of been trying to emerge in the United Kingdom and America since the early 90s, by 93. In response to the failures of neoliberalism and the economic stresses of European social democracy, the third way came to exist, which is marked under Britannica as being a mix of 60s to early 70s British corporatism mixed with European social democracy, and that's supposed to be the ideology. Although Gaddon has been quoted on saying that Blair mixed too much liberalism in it. Gaddon's a English Labour guy, Labour Party guy, sort of fashioned the new Labour thing, kind of him and a few other peeps. This moment. Aye, aye, aye. But yeah, no, I think I've fucking, you know, what else do I have to say? No, I think I've pretty much nailed everything on the top of it said there. Anything else anyone needs to go? Oh, wait. From my understanding, fascism is primarily rooted in the interests of the given national bourgeois. So different fascisms focused on development of their own bourgeois clash. Yeah, I mean, it's more so like the bourgeoisie cannot escape nationalism, no matter how international they get. There's always a nationalist angle about them. So it's even more so that like different sectors of the economy will back different fascists, and so those fascists will clash. But otherwise, yeah, your analogy is pretty much correct. Because the U.S.'s national bourgeoisie are basically the world bourgeoisie, it is usually in the intercept promote fake internationalism and pretend they are not fascists. As the U.S.'s national bourgeoisie are gradually limited in the international scope by the Chinese bourgeois. The nationalistic appeals will rise now. I see. You're using context slightly differently in a way that everything that you're saying actually works now. Thinking about it, I like that. You're saying something good there. RedScareTv delayed and delayed is mutual aid to us. We don't trust them. You shouldn't trust them, comrades. You'd be right. Never ever trust that motherfucker. Just gas came out. Well, yeah, what's it? That's basically the rhyme and rhythm of the whole situation. Yeah, well, that's the demand that you guys create. He ain't gonna do it. Like, these people are all about their channels. Like they don't give a shit about this, even if they believe they do. There's awesome to hear. I want to co-host with them as well. I really look forward to being able to do so. I got indigestion. There you go. Yeah, I really look forward to being able to co-host with them as well. That'd be sick. Fucking drop some nasty rhythms on the situations and get to divulging uh, the lumpen principles around what makes them anarchists and how they see things going forward and the different sort of interesting conversations that we can flex around and dive into. Fucking hell. But yeah, I would fucking I will conclude this way. I would stay away from Oswald Mosley TV when he returns if I'm you, unless you want to look at him degenerate even further for whatever fun you might get out of that. I'm going to stop you. I'm going to judge you. It's your own thing, but I would stay away from Mosley TV. Fucking Black Shirts TV. I need to come up with better jokes, but I think Oswald Mosley TV is my favorite one now. Or Red Shirts TV because it's a fascist thing. Well, shit. But Red Shirts TV is a more suited name for him. Well, I called him Black Shirts TV because that was the name of Mosley's fucking um, fascist fascist I don't know what the word would be for it. Fucking paramilitary group. There we go. Lone Star TV. Social Henshin is on it. Yeah, RedScareTv really sold us on things. This is not something we will forget. Mason is like a Mussolini. Look at the Soviet Union called Mussolini. They called Mussolini gay is like like, like it's an actual like official thing. Like they called Mussolini and Hitler obviously gay. The homophobic Soviet Union did some funny things with the way it tried to conclude on things. Horrendous. It's not undermining the horrendous nature of the situation here. But it is kind of funny to think historically that the Soviet Union just turned around and looked at Nazism and fascism and went, huh, gay. uh, I'm sorry. Uh, Fascism has always tried to be cryptic, though, realistically speaking. I mean, it was a little more blatant back in the day, but like it's still the same cryptic shit. I mean, Moppin has gone from cryptic to almost full blown blatant, and fuck me, he's still got a growing crowd going about him. Like, say what you want about how much he likes to shoot himself in the foot, he seems to be getting somewhere with it. Yeah, I mean, what's it? It's something that Stalin quoted about the Trotskyists. So it's like, oh, all of a sudden, the Trotskyists have gone from being the biggest opposers to Marxism Leninism to calling themselves Leninists. Lone Star TV. It certainly does suit him. I can't believe I didn't think of it. Going on down to the Lone Star Ranch. Most of the white MLs, although not all of them, are usually fascists. Though not all of them are usually fascists hiding behind red colors. You ain't wrong there, comrade. You ain't wrong there. I mean, in the first world, especially, like, it's petty bourgeois socialism. It's the big driving problem as well. Like, it's more like that. The usually neo feudalists. They're either fascists or they're petty bourgeois socialists. I'm being quite semantic here. Well, I'm always a semantic little shit. Muffin Man is so close to explicitly rejecting Marxism Leninism and just calling himself a patsock. We need to keep pushing. But I have to tell myself when I go for a shit. What the fuck does MLism have to offer the pros of the USA? Nothing. Uh, you you have to look to MLM. Absolutely, absolutely. Well spoken, comrade. Well spoken. Really, I mean, with a lot of principled MLs as well. A lot of them either are Maoists in denial or like would be Maoists, but they don't want to. They don't want the flack of turning Maoist, and then all the MLs just treating them like dickheads because it makes it hard for them to essentially engage with most people. It turns things into confrontations, and they don't need to. Well, I mean, they do need to be to a degree, but you know what I mean. Like when they it would more hassle than it feels like it's worth, so they end up getting stuck in this element of trying to push the principled line against lots of people that don't want to hear it. And it's weird wonky mannerisms of the first world Marxist-Leninist community. And if we don't push a principled line and not allow anything otherwise, we're gonna keep going around in circles on this issue all the time. We have to be, we sorry, the way I see it, after the death of Stalin, all communists are either Christovites or Maoists. The only way to be a real communist is the present situation, to explicitly embrace Maoism. You said it better than I was trying to say it. Yeah, go on. Absolutely. Well spoken. The principled line has to be pushed forward and we can't accept things otherwise. M3M, M3WM, B level had me for RedScareTv. Used to be seen as an American ML kid with a heart of gold. Doesn't matter if they have a heart of gold. Might have had a heart of gold. Doesn't matter. He's pushing fucking fascist shit regardless. Machiavellian little dickhead. We can't get detracted by people's niceties. It's a big problem that goes forward. We ain't here to make friends, we're here to make cadres. Make friends along the way that's based, but we don't, and we still make cadres. Based. The fellow traveller, sorry. Ooh. But the fellow twatler is the most unforgivable. Yeah, no, what? It was when he did the whole fucking thing where he went and dug up some lies about Jason. It's caused Jason trouble over the years, and it's like that was the big, red alert for me. Oy. Yeah, no, what's it? Traveler is not about revolution. No, he's about reform. Reform the fucking snake. What pony? What Trav wants to do? Wants to try and reform the snake. He gonna put lipstick on the goddamn pig. Hey, why you gone done that, Roger? But find a way off topic. But do you consider the Jewish philosophy as compatible with Maoist principles? Not so much the philosophy, other than the principle of self-reliancy. Yes, but not Juche as a whole philosophy. That's a bit more of a complicated mess full of a lot of revisionist shit. But the concept of one's capacity to be self-reliant from larger nations is an important process, so that we ain't relying on bastionizing Soviet Union, China, this and the worship of those countries that we got into. Like they were onto something there, but the rest of the philosophy is a roller coaster of that's good to that's dodgy to that's good to so principle I would say, especially the principle of self reliancy in regards to Juche was really important to the Panthers. Right? And the picture I use for my channel logo is Eldridge Cleaver on a front page of their newspaper with Kim Il Sung quotes about the Juche philosophy on there. Um, the principle of self reliance. Sorry, um, the, and that principle was quite important to making a self-reliant set of orgs surrounded around the lumpen proletariat. Socialism. Well, I mean, grounded in Marxism would be an understatement. Marxism is the core set of principles to which we are down to. No Marxist is afraid to go beyond Marxism to look for what it needs to look to. We have to. We can't be in an echo chamber. Any principled MO or MLM agree with that. We stick to our principles. Our principles are the core foundation of what we ascertain towards. Political theory that guides us there is always ever changing to the environment of which we have to endure. Third worldism isn't the first to reach that conclusion. Yeah, that's the end. Oh, it's already. That's it. Yeah, well, it's always gonna be whatever principled struggles drive a certain nation forward, but you know, the principles that we hold to is that unless they're following towards a direct pathway towards the complete obliteration of class, the more scientific means to attain towards there, they're likely to fail. Right? MLM third world doesn't loosen up on that point. Dialectical materialism can be utilized by anyone, and if utilized principally, they should find their way in the direct position to go towards. But without that philosophy, it's going to be quite hard to find one's way towards communism on an international basis. So things are complicated. Signs of this are all over Africa and the global south. No, absolutely, of course it is. It will fall forward, but any socialist struggle going on around the world would want to atone towards a dialectical materialist philosophy if they want to succeed in destroying class. Otherwise, they'll be doomed to make the same mistakes of most other forms of idyllic socialist struggle. Dialectical materialism is what removes the shackles of idealism on the other forms of socialism. But their principles are still fine. I'm never going to force anything on anyone else. It's for that nation of people, their struggle to attain towards. But, you know, that's just my position on it all. Is that, yeah, I mean, there's going to be different socialist orgs. Sorry, but third worldism is not a cross stage. Oh well. The the way I see it is that any group, whether Marxist or not, if they want to succeed in the revolutionary struggle against class, they need to be applying a dialectical materialist philosophy on a principled basis if they want to succeed in their aims and their struggles. I will fight out on that. Red Soil comrades. Stay frosty, you dickheads.